What's up, y'all? I'm Fonz. I'm back with another episode of Real Kakuro. I'm going to be doing another one of these that I've already done, just kind of showcasing some of the, advanced strategies. I actually misspoke in the last video. I won't be doing a puzzle that has pieces with their little corners interconnected. I opened up this puzzle and I looked at it and I was like, oh, I was actually super confused about what I was about to get into. That one that I was speaking of was actually this one that took me 31 minutes, almost 32 minutes, right there, number 156. So I will probably do that one just, and post it up on the channel just for the hell of it. Hopefully I can do it in less time than 32 minutes. Although at the same time, I kind of don't want to like change that time. Because I like kind of seeing like how fast I solve stuff on my first time. So I'll have to kind of think about what I'm going to do for that. Maybe I'll just talk really slow and ramble about a lot of BS that I can kind of edit out later. We'll see. Anyway, in this episode, what I'm going to be doing is number 160 right here. Conveniently solved in the same pace as number 158, the last one. But we'll go ahead and open this one up. Now this one's kind of an interesting one. It definitely does have a very interesting shape to it when you look at it. Like even just kind of looking at the puzzle without even filling anything in, we can start to notice that it's going to be very difficult to draw very many correlations. Like there's nowhere in this puzzle. Well, I shouldn't say nowhere. You can split the puzzle in half and find out this square versus that square, and it would be a nice and clean subtraction, which is which is kind of a nice thing. However, in order to do that, you would have to literally add up every single one of these blocks because the way that this is connected in here. So that's going to be a little bit unfortunate to start off. So that'll probably be something that we'll maybe keep in our mind for later. However, this is the reason why I wanted to show this one, because this is one right here where it gives a lot of easy numbers. Like this is. It feels like the type of puzzle that's like, this shouldn't even have been an extreme puzzle. Like, the shape of it, kind of, yes, maybe, I could see it, but the numbers that it gives, like, if you start filling in some of these numbers, we got a 16 over 2, we got an 11 over 4, which is just like a 10 over 4, when you think about it, and same with the 23 over 3, I kind of like the 24 over 3, just the second from the top, second from the bottom. 6 over 3. Right there, we got the 34 over 5. Second from the top. So, as you can see, like, even just already, we're just getting a lot of really easy numbers. Like, this is the type of puzzle that, like, when you're filling it in, like, you're just like, what the hell is this easy shit? Like, get this shit out of here. Like, please, puzzle, like, keep some of your secrets for yourself. Don't just give me everything right off the bat. Like, let me work for it a little bit, Like, where's the foreplay in this? There's none. At least from the looks of it at first. But once we get into this a little bit more, you'll kind of start to see that it's not quite as cut and dry as it's going to appear. Which I actually was really happy to see, because at this point I was starting to get kind of upset. Just the letdown of everything. Okay. By the way, 15 over 5. Maximum of 5. It's 1 to 5. So that's going to be that, and then we can take these out. And then that makes this 1 to 4. And just like that, we got all the boxes filled in with, I guess with these 5, and a couple of these have 4. But for the most part, like, 2 or 3 choices for every single box, other than 5 of them that we already have filled in. So from this point, the puzzle actually gets a little bit tricky. But what we can start to do is we can start to maybe see if we can get rid of some of, or clear up some of like this right here. Because like, I can already tell you from looking at the 17 again, you know, puzzle not really hiding too much of its secrets too well. If this one were an 8, that one would have to be a 9. That's a 17 right there. So that can't work. We can already say right off the bat, that one's got to be our 6, that one's got to be our 8. So there we go with that. These two got to equal a 5 right here. So we can take out the 1 right there. From there, well, okay, so we got these two equal a 5. Of course, these equal a 6, those are a 4. From here, we have an 11, so we can take out those two. And we got that. Okay. So, we can take a look at this for a second. I mean, we already have. But basically, when you look at this right here, you know, the situation's looking kind of dire. Like, you know, we had a bunch of easy numbers, but now we're getting a bunch of situations where, I mean, I can knock a couple of things off here and there. You know, I could take off the 9 right there because it can't be a 9. It's got to be an 8 or less. Right, and as a matter of fact, it can't even be the 4. I mean, so we can start knocking off little bits and pieces around this. You know, I mean, obviously, like those and that. And there's probably, you know, a few others that we can do here and there. Actually, we could probably do some work with that too. Because that couldn't be a 4. If that was a 4, these would have to be a 1, 2, 3. So we can't have that. At this point, we can actually get our 4 right here. And that takes out a 4 right there. Which gives us a 20. Which would be, what, a 15, 16, or 17. Which isn't going to do us too much good right there. And of course, the 4 isn't going to help us too much there because we already knew the 4 had to be in that row or that column. So yeah, we can kind of piddle around with a few little things around the puzzle that are not going to help too much, and we're kind of going to reach a point where it's going to get a little bit, you know, on that kind of iffy side. Like, man, I really don't want to guess and check with this. Like, I want to try and logic my way through this, and I'd rather kind of just stare at the screen for like a half an hour and like just really hash some like stupid half-cocked plan out, and just, you know, hope to God it pans out. But in this particular case, we can actually do something that's kind of interesting here. We can compare these two blocks against this block, or I shouldn't say against, I should say with, because they're all going to be added together. And now this is going to be one of those addition situations where you can't necessarily say that you're going to have 3 unique numbers. 2 of the numbers will definitely be unique, but one of them could be repeating. And so you got to keep that in mind when you do something like this, because otherwise you'll wind up with, like, you know, weird numbers that either don't fit or they lead you just down a wrong path. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to take, since the 2 downs are going to wind up being worth more, we'll start with them. 10 and a 6 is going to be 16, minus a 5 and a 9 is going to give us a 7. So these 3 squares have to add up to a 7. And in addition to this, I can also say that this block can't be a 1. So actually, maybe doing a little bit of more piddling around the puzzle might have been, you know, it will actually be a little useful for us. This one can't be a 1 though, because if that, you know, 9 and 4, that would only give us a 14. So we can take out the 1 there. And now we're left in a situation where, if you look at these two, they can only equal a 4, a 5, or a 6. Which means that this has to equal a 1, a 2, or a 3. So we can take out our 4 right there, because we can't have that. That's going to give us our 4 right here, which is going to give us our 1, which gives us our 3 and our 2. And that gives us our 1 there, which is going to give us 2, 3 up there. So now then from here, we can go ahead and, since this section is kind of cut off from the rest of it, I can tell you that that's going to equal an 11 going across, which means that this is going to equal a 17. And okay, so if this is a 17 going here, then this one can't be a 5, because, well, and that one can't be a 9 either. Because if this is 17 right here, the minimum that this can be is a 7, the minimum that can be is a 6, that's 13. That means the maximum this one can be is a 4. So 4 right there. And of course, if this were a 7 and a 9, that would be 16. Don't have a 1 here, so we can't have the 9 there. That makes 8 and 6 there. That also gives me a 2 and a 3, and a 2 and a 3. So we know that has to be 5, which means the sum of the rest of these is a 23, which is going to give us a 6, an 8, and a 9. And that is going to give us a 9, and a 2, and a 3, and a 2. And of course our 7 up there. Having the 20 up here has to be, yeah, it has to be the 5 and the 8. And that gives us our 9 and our 3, which gives us a 1 and a 2 and a 3. And now this puzzle kind of starts piecing together at this point. So let's get through a little bit of the rest of this. So from here we can look at this block right here, and it can't be a 4 because that one's a 7. That would already give us our 11 just off the bat, which means that we have to have our 4 right there. That's going to give us a 7 here, which means that we have to have an 8 between the other two squares. Makes this one a 7 and a 1, and a 2 and a 1. That's going to make this one an 8 and a 9, and a 1, and a 2, and a 1, and a 2, which makes this one in turn a 3. That one's going to be our 4, and that's going to be a 9, and this one will be a 2. And alright, from here, we've pretty much solved the puzzle at this point. So I'm going to kind of blab my jaw for, the next minute and a half, just so I don't kind of wind up with a shorter time than what I had before, because I'd rather avoid that. But yeah, hopefully, if you watched this far, you've enjoyed it. Hopefully, putting these out will also help to stir up a little bit of interest with this type of puzzle, and just seeing just kind of what it's all about in terms of like the more upper level of play that you would kind of be building up to, like kind of beyond what you would obviously just experience your first few times doing it when you still got that learning curve, because that learning curve can definitely be a bitch. But it's pretty much going to be like that with, I guess, just about any pursuit that you do. So I guess it's to be expected. But I personally find these to be just a ton of fun to do. Anyway, so that's enough of me blabbing my yap. If you watched this far, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.